After nearly half the grid received penalties at Monza last week, Ferrari Formula 1 chief Matteo Binotto thinks the FIA should take into account raising the power unit allocation per season. Although it is uncommon for anyone to complete an entire season on that allotment, each F1 driver is only permitted to use a maximum of 3 engines each season without incurring a penalty. Many teams chose to use both Spa and Monza to collect extra power unit elements, but because so many penalties had to be assessed, it made it difficult to predict how the grid would line up. The FIA, according to Ferrari team principal Binotto, should make clear how grid penalties are levied in order to establish the starting grid more swiftly, and should also take into account increasing the number of engines before penalizing teams. Because there are undoubtedly several interpretations and the legislation is not sufficiently explicit, it took so long to publish the grid, according to Binotto. Max Verstappen won the pole position for the race at Spa on Saturday, but after penalties were assessed, he dropped to 14th place. 9 drivers dropped off the grid at Monza because their power units changed, but the FIA took several hours to provide the provisional starting grid. It increased calls for the FIA to streamline its procedures to prevent confusion, even among drivers, and deliver a quicker answer regarding the composition of the starting grid once qualifying was complete. Drivers incur a 10-place grid penalty the first time they use more power unit elements than allowed for the season, and a further 5-place penalty for each additional usage after that. Most people considered Spa and Monza to be the best chance to add features to their seasonal pool in the goal of finishing the campaign without receiving any additional penalties given the difficulty of overtaking at several of the forthcoming tracks.